Whew, man. What's up, y'all? Welcome to another live pro wrestling talk brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming. I'm your host, as usual, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. Wow, it's been a rough week in the pro wrestling world. Quite a rough week. Whew. So quite a handful of things gonna talk about tonight. Gonna do this a little bit differently. Gonna really focus on some main topics tonight. But the main one that I want to really start out with is the biggest one. The biggest one. WWE just released 18 wrestlers. And the list of names just were mind-boggling. Names that I really didn't see coming for the most part, but they were all released yesterday. So we're gonna go over that list. And Stardom, Stars gets a new member. I'll go over the card for New Japan Pro Wrestling's Power Struggle, which is tomorrow. And the ROH video library is apparently up for sale. So I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on that. But yeah, this is going to be quite an interesting pro wrestling talk. But anyway, let's get started with this. Well, let's get started with the list. So I'm gonna run down. I'm gonna do a quick rundown of the list, and then I will, separately talk about each one. But I have the list pulled up right here. These are the wrestlers that were released yesterday from the WWE. Here we go. Scarlett Bordeaux, Franky Monet, Ember Moon, Oney Lorcan, Trey Baxter, Jessi Kamea, Zayda Ramier, Katrina Cortez, Jeet Rama, B-Fab, Karrion Kross, Gran Metalik, Lince Dorado, Nia Jax, Keith Lee, Harry Smith, Mia Yim, and Eva Marie. Yeah, that's quite a lot. That's quite a lot. Let's go over each one. Scarlett Bordeaux, Karrion Kross's fiance. It wasn't that long ago that they got engaged, so congratulations to them. But Scarlett Bordeaux, I mean, when Karrion Kross went to the main roster, we never saw Scarlett, not one time, with Karrion Kross on the main roster. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. She was such a vital piece alongside Karrion Kross back in NXT, especially when it came to the entrance, to the promos. Like, that pairing was awesome. Who's also a real life couple. And just when they didn't have her on the main roster, Karrion Kross just didn't look the same. He didn't look the same without her. It was bad. It was really bad. So it was just really unfortunate that it went down like that. And, I might as well jump to Karrion Kross. I mean, Karrion Kross booked good on NXT, booked extremely horrible on the main roster. He was on Raw. And honestly, I already had a bad feeling when they called him up on Raw while he was still the NXT champion. And his first match on Raw was against Jeff Hardy, and he got pinned, which wasn't a long match either. But he got pinned by Jeff Hardy as still the NXT champion. And that was his debut match on Raw. Not only that, but look at the gear that he was wearing. Like with the mask, made him look like a dominatrix. And he hated the mask. He even posted about it on Twitter. He hated the mask. But like, you had a great wrestler and somebody that could really be a great monster, was booked very well on NXT. The gimmick and everything with Scarlett was awesome. And then just on the main roster, just ruined. It was bad. It was really ridiculous how poorly Karrion Kross was booked on the main roster. And it was ridiculous that they didn't even have Scarlett alongside him. So they really dropped the ball with Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. Franky Monet, a.k.a. Nya Valkyrie. Nya Valkyrie, another world-class athlete, great wrestler. Former knockout champion back in Impact Wrestling, believe had the record for the longest reigning knockout champion. I mean, seen her in Lucha Underground. She's John Morrison's wife. Like, she really, honestly, aside from a couple of matches, a title opportunity, she really didn't have a shot on NXT. And if you ask me, I mean, some say that she really should have been brought to the main roster, like on the spot, because of who she is and what she's done. Fair argument. But that release doesn't necessarily make sense to me. Franky Monet's release. I mean, number one, I don't like the name they used for her. Franky Monet, I thought that name was garbage. So it's good to see her back as Nya Valkyrie. But honestly, I felt like she didn't really have a shot. Despite having one title match, she wasn't really booked too well on NXT. And there was a lot of things they could have done with her. Like, me personally, I would have loved to see her feud with Io Shirai. I mean, she even interrupted her sit-down interview that she had with Beth Phoenix after Io Shirai had lost the NXT Women's Championship to Raquel Gonzalez. But nah, they didn't follow up with that. Not to mention, Nya Valkyrie and Io Shirai have history all the way back in, I believe, Stardom. So they have a lot of history. So a feud between Nya Valkyrie and Io Shirai would have been perfect in NXT. Like, it made no sense having her as part of the Robert Stone brand and with Aaliyah and Jessi Kamea. That made no sense to me. That really made no sense to me. So I just chalk it up as another wasted talent. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if John Morrison was next. Being that that's his wife, and John Morrison isn't getting anything right now. Not since the Miz left to do Dancing with the Stars. They just shut that down right there. So there's no telling when John Morrison is going to get anything other than backstage segments. So they really dropped the ball on that. Next up, Ember Moon. OMG. WWE really, really, really did Ember Moon dirty. Had a great career on NXT. Got brought up to the main roster. Didn't really get a lot of love on the main roster with her booking. I mean, it didn't take too long before she was placed in catering and chasing after the 24/7 championship, which was how she ended up tearing her Achilles. And it was unknown for a while if she would even be able to make a comeback. And, she was very worried about that too. And then she comes back. They have nothing for her on the main roster, so she gets sent back to NXT. And, when she's been able to pretty much reignite her career in NXT, get paired up with Shotzi Blackheart, became the tag team champion with her. And then not too long after their title run, bam, Shotzi gets called up to the main roster. Ember Moon left behind. And then they had her job to some matches, and then we haven't seen Ember Moon. And just bam, gone. Ember Moon, another world-class talented wrestler. They did Ember Moon dirty. It is so ridiculous how dirty she got did. Ember Moon is an excellent talent. And a lot of people, some say she should have been the one to end Asuka's undefeated streak back in NXT. Oh man, them doing that to Ember Moon, that was pretty messed up. That was pretty messed up. And on the main roster, she really never had a chance. She never had a chance. So I really feel for her because I love Ember Moon. I was a big fan of Ember Moon. Next up, Oney Lorcan. Oney Lorcan, I mean, definitely big, pretty big in the indies. Also known as Biff Busick. I remember he's wrestled in Evolve as well. Great wrestler. Definitely great wrestler. Heavy hitter. Honestly, I really feel like a lot of where they had him shine was 205 Live, but never became cruiserweight champion. It was good to see that him and Danny Burch did become NXT tag team champs, but just Oney Lorcan doesn't really have a lot of highlights in the WWE, unfortunately, but great wrestler. Definitely great wrestler. So it was a bummer to see him get let go, but yeah, not really a lot of highlights for him. Trey Baxter. Trey Baxter, aka Blake Christian. Great wrestler. He's done a lot of stuff with New Japan Pro Wrestling recently, and was on 205 Live. Great wrestler. I just feel like aside from the breakout star challenge on that tournament that they had on NXT that Carmelo Hayes ended up winning, they really didn't have anything else for him. And it's such a bummer. I thought they had like a segment for a while where, him and Cora Jade had some backstage segment and, they were a couple and such, but Trey Baxter, great talent. Just feel like aside from that tournament, didn't really use him. So it's unfortunate. Jessi Kamea, who is also Isaiah Swerve Scott's girl. Jessi Kamea, I mean, other than really being part of the Robert Stone brand, I know she was in the second Mae Young Classic. I just feel like she was one that, outside of the Robert Stone brand, just really didn't have anything. I mean, I remember seeing her do some house shows, but never really got going outside of the Robert Stone brand, him being paired with Aaliyah and Robert Stone. And I like Jessi Kamea. I like her overall look. I mean, it would have been nice to see her used more, but I feel like Robert Stone brand was the best that she could get. So sucks to see her go, but they didn't really have much for her. Zayda Ramier. I mean, the only time I saw Zayda Ramier was, I think, she faced off against Toni Storm and Sarray. And I believe she beat Toni Storm, lost to Sarray. I mean, Zayda Ramier was just one that you didn't really see a lot of. But I really liked what I saw from her, especially when she went up against Sarray. I really liked what I saw from her. But, just another up-and-coming talent that just didn't get a big break. But I really started to like her, though. Katrina Cortez. I vaguely remember her, but I know she was that one masked wrestler. I think aside from main event and 205 Live, I mean, didn't really see a whole lot of her, so I really can't say anything about her. So, yeah. Jeet Rama. I think I've only seen Jeet Rama like once or twice. So I can't really say anything about him because I really don't know him. So I just feel like that's another developmental talent, but don't really know anything about him. B-Fab. This surprised the mess out of me because B-Fab just recently, signed her contract. And not only that, her and Hit Row got called up to the main roster. And Hit Row t-shirts that they had were selling out. That merch was selling out. And then, not too long after getting called up to the main roster, she gets the axe. Now, I understand that she was still very green in the ring. I know she had like a few matches on NXT. And had that feud with Elektra Lopez, but just still very much green in the ring. But it just really sucked to see her get let go. It really sucked to see her get let go. And now they've had to change up Hit Row's theme so that you don't hear the Hit Row part that she sings. They had to cut that out of the theme because they released her. So that I really didn't understand that. So now Hit Row is just Swerve, Top Dollar, and Ashanti the Adonis. So just the three guys. So I just, the B-Fab release, that made no sense to me. That made no sense. And I went over Karrion Kross already. Gran Metalik. I mean, Gran Metalik, great talent. made it to he was a finalist in the Cruiserweight Classic, an excellent tournament. Of course, he was part of the Lucha House Party with Kalisto and Lince Dorado, but just another great talent that, outside the Lucha House Party just really didn't go anywhere with. I mean, I feel like his best work was back in the Cruiserweight Classic. So it was really a bummer. But yeah, that's Gran Metalik in a nutshell. Lince Dorado was also released, so no more Lucha House Party. And Lince Dorado, I've known ever since back in Dragon Gate when I went to the show they had in Burlington, North Carolina in 2006. And he was in the breakout challenge. And that was my first taste of Lince Dorado. And I believe he's also been in Evolve as well. Great wrestler. Another one who was also in the Cruiserweight Classic. But I mean, they had the Lucha House Party, and really, that's all they really had for them on the main roster. I mean, Kalisto, he won the United States Championship, but and he was a tag team champion on NXT with Sin Cara when they were the Lucha Dragons. But I feel like Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado just really didn't have as much success as Kalisto did, aka Samurai del Sol. But yeah, so that's the end of the Lucha House Party. And they were even resorted to chasing after the 24/7 title backstage. It was ridiculous. So Nia Jax. Now, here's the messed up part about the release of Nia Jax. I mean, aside from her in-ring work, aside from her injury to other ladies' history, she was taking some time off, after they wrote her off, using Shayna Baszler doing the arm stomp, ending that tag team. She had time off. She asked for a little more time off because she was, for mental health, which is understandable. Very, very understandable. A very real issue, a very real topic that can happen to anyone. She requested a little more time off to, recover for her mental health. And not only did they deny that, they released her. Like, honestly, that's messed up. Love Nia Jax, hate Nia Jax, that's messed up. Plain and simple as that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of Nia Jax, but that's messed up. She requested a little more time off because she was dealing with her mental health, trying to recover from that and such. And they denied it and released her. That's jacked up. That is so jacked up. Especially considering, let's be honest, Nia Jax is one of those superstars that, gets bullied and gets body shamed. Let's keep it real. Happens to her a lot, especially on social media. So, I understand that, these are all, real people playing characters, playing wrestlers, playing gimmicks, but these are still people and they have real life problems as well. And when she did that and it wasn't honored, that was a slap in her face. And I just think that was a really jacked up part on WWE. So yeah, the release of Nia Jax, that was uncalled for. Next up, Keith Lee. Wow. Not too long after they repackaged him into Bearcat Lee they cut him. Well, the only thing I can say is his best time, of course, was in NXT. Because that's the thing with Triple H. Triple H knows talent and knows how to use the real great talented wrestlers. And Keith Lee was no different of an example. Had a great run in NXT. Got to showcase his abilities to the fullest. And then when he was brought up to the main roster, aside from his run at on Survivor Series, didn't have a good main roster run at all. And I know he had the health scare, was able to bounce back from that. And then, he gets repackaged and that's it. Had a few squash matches, and then he's cut. Not to mention, it was brought to the light that he never even suggested the idea of him getting Bearcat Lee. That wasn't even his idea, which I knew deep down that it wasn't his idea. Why would you strip Limitless away from Keith Lee and replace that with Bearcat in the first place? I knew dang on well that couldn't have been Keith Lee's idea. So just main roster, he was just buried into the ground. Let's just keep it real. His best work was in NXT. The WWE was a double champion. Had a great showing at Survivor Series. And that's really the best we got to see of Keith Lee in the WWE. Was he had a run in Evolve as well, was former Evolve champion. Him and Matt Riddle are really tight, good friends. But it was a travesty the way they used Keith Lee on the main roster. Plain and simple as that. Harry Smith, a.k.a. D.H. Smith, David Hart Smith, whichever. He had just signed with the WWE. Hadn't made a TV appearance. And they cut him. We're talking about the son of the legendary British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith. And they released him before he even had a chance to appear on TV. It's ridiculous. Of course, he was part of the Hart Dynasty. Used to be teamed up with Tyson Kidd. Was with Natalia. They were a faction, a great faction, mind you. But had a great showing in Japan, back in New Japan Pro Wrestling, when he was with Suzuki Gun, teamed up with Lance Archer. They were the Killer Elite Squad. So hopefully, who knows, maybe they can reunite. But that was another surprise, them letting go of Harry Smith. Ridiculous. After they just signed him, didn't even make a TV appearance, and they cut him. Eva Marie. Okay, Eva Marie. I really have no idea what they were expecting when they brought her back in the first place. And it took almost 6 months, I guess, for them to realize that it's not working. Because, let's be honest. She can't wrestle. Her acting is shady. So, I wish her the best, but I just don't think pro wrestling is for Eva Marie. Modeling, sure. I don't know what other skills she has, but pro wrestling ain't for her. I'm sorry. It's not for her. I mean, we have to be honest with ourselves. I mean, I do hope that, maybe she can get back on her feet, like through modeling. And if she were to get back into the wrestling business, the most that I could really see her have is a valet, if even that. So, I mean, I think it's just one of those where they realize the Eva Marie experiment didn't work. And they brought her back with the hopes that maybe she will have gotten better and maybe she can act and wrestle. That experiment failed. That's really what I chalk it up to. The Eva Marie experiment failed. And then we have Mia Yim, Keith Lee's fiance. Mia Yim, great wrestler, has wrestled all over the world. A big indie star. Her best moments were NXT, because she really didn't get a shot on the main roster. I think she had one or two matches as Reckoning, and then that was it. That was it. And I believe she was drafted to Raw, if I remember correctly. And they did nothing with her. So it's just really unfortunate for her. I mean, it was bad enough she didn't get a title or a title run on NXT. She was in both Mae Young Classics. Like I said, a great talent. Great talent. Mia Yim is the real deal. I've seen her live. Great wrestler. Like, traveled all over the world. She's excellent. But she was never really given a fair shot on the main roster. And they just had her in Retribution, which was dumb. So, yeah, it's really unfortunate to see all these releases. Now, right quick, I want to go through these again and share where I think where they could potentially go. Now, also keep in mind, apparently the deal is if you get released from while you're in NXT, you have a 30-day non-compete clause. If you get released from the main roster, you're under a 90-day non-compete clause. So to go back over these, Scarlett Bordeaux, Karrion Kross. I mean, honestly, Karrion Kross, he's been in Impact. I mean, him and Scarlett in AEW, I mean, if they have room, would be nice. I could see them shining in AEW. I mean, I guess a return to Impact is possible, but honestly, AEW, Impact, or maybe even NWA could work well for Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. Franky Monet, Nya Valkyrie. I mean, she's a world-class athlete. I mean, she could go anywhere, to be honest with you. I mean, she could go to NWA. She could go to AEW. Me personally, I wouldn't mind seeing her back in Stardom. I think she could be another top gaijin in Stardom, just like B. Priestley was, just like Toni Storm was, So I feel like that would be a great promotion for Nya Valkyrie there, or AEW or NWA. I could see Nia Valkyrie going to either of those three destinations. Ember Moon, AEW. If it's one person that I feel like Tony Khan should definitely zone in on, Ember Moon. I think Ember Moon and AEW is a perfect fit for her. Ember Moon's a great talent. I mean, she could go to Impact as well, but I feel like AEW would be the perfect fit for Ember Moon, which I would assume she would go back to being Athena. So I think Ember Moon should get picked up for AEW. Oney Lorcan, honestly, Oney Lorcan, I could see either an NWA, Impact, or New Japan. Oh, what's up, Jack? Yo, Russo's revealing his email exchanges with McMahon, but you got to pay on Patreon. Ooh, interesting. Very interesting. But, yeah, Oney Lorcan, I could see going to Impact, NWA, or New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, I feel like he's got options. I think he would fit well in either of those options. I hear some people say MLW could be an option as well. So, I mean, Oney Lorcan, great talent. I could see him being a great addition to the X Division on Impact. You know, you never know what could happen if he was in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You know, could be on NJPW Strong, or he could move to Japan. Could be in the IWGP Junior Heavyweight division. I could see that for Oney Lorcan. The dude's a great talent, great wrestler. So why not? Trey Baxter, I could definitely see him returning to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Impact Wrestling would be good as well. Be a great for the X Division, aka Blake Christian. If nobody's picking Ember Moon, I'll give her lodging and food. Oh, so nice of you. But be careful. That's a married woman. But yeah, Ember Moon, I definitely think AEW, Tony Khan's got to go in and scoop up Ember Moon. That's a must. But Trey Baxter, I could definitely see either New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he has experience in, and Impact Wrestling. Throw him in the X Division. I could see that. Jessi Kamea. Ooh. I mean, honestly, Jessi Kamea, maybe NWA. $18 wrestlers. Why did they have so many to begin with? I mean, well, here's what I don't get about it. They're pulling in crazy revenue. I mean, 200 million and such. I mean, they're bringing in the money, but yet these releases were due to budget cuts. Yeah. The release of B-Fab, when you just signed her and just brought her with Hit Row to the main roster. Harry Smith just signed, didn't make a TV appearance. He got let go. Swingnut 28. Good afternoon from Australia. Oh, well, good evening from North Carolina, USA to you. But like, it just makes it hard for me to believe that these were budget cuts. If you ask me, this is even more of a clue that WWE is getting ready to sell. They've got to be getting ready to sell. But yeah, Jessi Kamea, other than NWA, I can't really see where she would fit at. So that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Zayda Ramier, kind of in the same boat. I mean, Zayda Ramier, I haven't seen a lot of her. I like her, but I haven't seen a lot of her. So I don't really know. I mean, maybe AEW, I could see her making appearances on Dark or Elevation, but I'm not too sure where she should go. Not too sure. Katrina Cortez, another one I'm not really too sure. I mean, I could see her being on AEW Dark or Dark Elevation, and maybe Impact, but I really don't know where she would fit best. Jack says budget cuts is just an excuse for their incompetence to book them and keep a normal roster. That's my take. And that is a very, very good take. That's a very good take. Because, I mean, with these budget cuts of these 18 wrestlers, they're just putting themselves into more rematch purgatory, especially on the main roster. I mean, what did we see earlier? We saw Shayna Baszler and Naomi again. You know, on the main roster, I mean, we keep seeing Riddle and Randy Orton against, AJ and Omos, just over and over again. We saw Mansoor and Mustafa Ali at least twice. And it's just ridiculous. Like, we'll see a matchup and then we will at least see one or two rematches of that matchup before they move on. And it's just ridiculous. We're seeing the same talent over and over again, week after week, and just no variety. There's no variety. Jeet Rama, don't know him that well, so I don't really know where he could go. B-Fab, I mean, like I said, she was really where she was supposed to be with Hit Row. And now I have no idea. I don't know what her experience is like. I think she's very green in the ring, but releasing B-Fab made no sense. Made no sense. How many wrestlers did big companies have in their rosters back in the day, on average, without having TV, back in the territory days? I mean, honestly, I didn't think it was many. Like what? Maybe 40 something or less than 40 or something like that. I didn't think it was many. I think it was mainly just a handful, and that was it. But yeah, that's from what I feel. But yeah, B-Fab, I have no idea where she could go. I hope she can get back on her feet, because that was a bad release. That was a bad release, letting her go from Hit Row, especially when Hit Row's merchandise was selling out. And then they had to cut B-Fab singing out of their theme on the main roster. So, yeah. Let's see. I already talked about Karrion Kross. Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado. I mean, Gran Metalik, is from Mexico. Could, always wrestle back in Mexico. Didn't that B-Fab girl enter like 2 months ago? Yeah, she was part of Hit Row. Very new, and was part of Hit Row, and she was one of the main singers for their theme. And she was the female of the group. and signed her contract. They called Hit Row up to the main roster. She had that one appearance, the initial appearance, and then bam, that's the last we've seen of B-Fab. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Hit me up, B-Fab. B-Fab hit Jack up. Let me pull this list back up again. Oh yeah, Gran Metalik, Lince Dorado. I mean, Mexico. I mean, I could see them in Impact and the X Division. AEW. I mean, AEW. I guess. Well, you know, would love to see them match up with the Lucha Brothers or feud with the Lucha Brothers. That would probably be cool. I mean, we just recently saw Aerostar and Samurai Del Sol, aka Kalisto, in AEW. They answered the open challenge for the AAA tag team titles held by FTR. Put up a good match too, and it was good to see Samurai Del Sol, that name, back in the picture. But Gran Metalik, Lince Dorado, I mean, they could really go anywhere and shine. I mean, they're luchadors, they're great wrestlers, awesome high flyers. They could really go anywhere, and I think they could be successful. Nia Jax, that's a tough one. I feel like before she goes anywhere, I think she needs to get more training. And then maybe, you know, somewhere like a Impact Wrestling or maybe a NWA. Do not, I repeat, do not AEW get Nia Jax. No. Was Nia Jax too stiff? I mean, not only that, but she was very what do you say? Not clumsy, but she just really did not do a good job at protecting her opponent and her matches. She didn't. I think a good part of it was her being very stiff, but she just never really did a good job at protecting her opponents. I mean, she's hurt. She's hurt a lot of folks. She had some. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. There's. You have to remember, there's plenty of big women in the business that are definitely much more safer than Nia Jax. Much safer. So I think if Nia Jax just stayed in NXT longer, got some more training, she probably could have been a better success on the main roster. But she just did not do a good job at protecting her opponents and was reckless, very reckless. Nia was there due to nepotism, right? Oh man, refresh my memory. What's nepotism? I don't think I'm familiar with that. I know she got a lot of push because that was The Rock's cousin. I do know that, but yeah, she just really, if she goes anywhere else, she just really needs to get more training and just learn how to be safer in the ring. If she can do that, she could reignite her career, you know, in other promotions. But I don't know. I just feel like nepotism is just that. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I think that definitely played a role with her being The Rock's cousin. I think that definitely did help play a role. Hey, Dale Yamamoto, good to see you. What was your feelings about B-Fab part of Hit Row being released after they were drafted to SmackDown? I thought it was dumb. I thought it was dumb. Like, she just signed her contract. They called up Hit Row to SmackDown. Hit Row's merchandise, their t-shirts were selling out. She had the one appearance with Hit Row on SmackDown, and then they let her go, and they cut her singing out of Hit Row's theme. It was dumb. It was dumb. I understand that she was still green in the ring, but there was no reason to release her, especially after they signed her like not long ago. Like, she legit just signed her contract, and then just bam, they cut her. It was dumb. It was a big dumb mistake by WWE. Because it was definitely looking like Hit Row was gonna really blow up. I mean, the merchandise was already selling out. So just WWE being dumb, Dale. WWE being dumb. Keith Lee, I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Jack says, can't they have her as a valet at least? That's what I was thinking they were gonna do. That's what I was thinking they were gonna do. I mean, after all, she only had like 2 matches on NXT. And, that was while they were feuding with Legado del Fantasma. Swingnut 28. Happy Saturday afternoon from Australia, my cuz. Thank you so much. That's right. It is. It's currently Saturday here as well. Saturday past midnight. But thank you. Good to see you. But yeah, Jack, having her as a valet would have been fine. Would have been fine. But to Keith Lee, Tony Khan, if you can, Keith Lee should be near the top of your priority list of picking up. Keith Lee is a must. Keith Lee is a must for AEW, because I have no doubt that AEW would book him correctly and let him shine and be a star and use his full abilities, not make him a monster, but use his full abilities that he's known for, being the limitless one. Jack says, she was fire on the mic and not eye candy, but a whole candy factory. I mean, yeah. Yeah. And, she was the female of the group. The stable was great. Hit Row had something going there with her, B-Fab, her, Top Dollar, Shanti the Adonis, and Swerve. You had a group. But Keith Lee, AEW, make it happen. Make it happen. Because Keith Lee, that is a talent that you can't just let sit out there as a free agent. You can't let him sit out there as a free agent for long. Keith Lee is a must pick up talent. And I hope AEW grabs him. Or shoot, he could go to Japan and be successful. Impact? Shoot, if he went to Impact, he could feud with Moose. Do you know how crazy of a matchup that would be? Keith Lee versus Moose? That's main event worthy. That's main event worthy. Hey, didn't WWE have a trans wrestler a while ago? Whatever happened there? Not that I know of. The only one that I know, the only popular one that I know is Nyla Rose, and she's on AEW. But trans wrestler on WWE, not that I know of. Yeah, not that I know of. If somebody else in the chat knows who Jack's talking about, please share. But yeah, the only one that I know off the top of my head is Nyla Rose, but she was in AEW. But yeah, Keith Lee is a must for AEW. Tony Khan, get on that. As soon as his 90-day non-compete clause clears up, you get on that. You hit the button and you get on that. But yeah, Nyla Rose, she's still currently in the TBS Championship tournament. She has a quarterfinal matchup coming up against Hikarushita. Let's see. Harry Smith. I got him mixed up. Oh, no problem. Harry Smith. I mean, you got a couple of options. I mean, AEW, he could be reunited with Lance Archer, reform the Killer Elite Squad. I mean, after all, Lance Archer has been teaming up with Minoru Suzuki, the leader of Suzuki Gun. So that's an easy choice. Could put him in the NWA as well. I mean, you got a lot of options for Harry Smith. A lot of options. You could really do some things with him. Let's see. Eva Marie. Like I said, honestly, if I can keep it real, pro wrestling's just, I really just don't think it's a career for Eva Marie. I'm sorry, but I just don't think it's for her. I don't think it's for her. So, I mean, the most I could really see Eva Marie doing is maybe, become a high-class model. But as far as pro wrestling, I just don't think it fits her. Now, if she, were to be like a permanent valet or something like that, then maybe. Depends on who she gets paired with. But honestly, as far as pro wrestling, Eva Marie, I just don't think it's for her. So, yeah. Jack says, there's a rumor the Bellas are coming back. It wouldn't surprise me. I think they have a desire to return and win the women's tag team titles. I mean, and then they would pretty much become the first twins in WWE history, or the first female twins in WWE history to win the tag titles. I think that's the idea of the Bellas coming back so they could win the tag titles. And that's pretty much what I feel WWE would do. I'm not too big on the Bellas, to be honest with you. So, Eva Marie didn't even last 5 months, right? Didn't she come back in June? Technically, she was signed. She was re-signed in May. Technically, it was May, but she didn't appear, I believe, until June. So, around that 5, sort of 6 month timeline is pretty much how long she lasted. But yeah, technically May was when she got re-signed. But about 5-6 months was really how long she lasted. Not too big on the Bellas, but Nikki makes me tingle. I mean, yeah, they're gorgeous women. But like, I mean, at first I was kind of feeling Brie Bella. And then, when Nikki was revealed and they would do the twin magic stuff, then that's when it got to the point where it's like, okay, this is dumb. Because, the Basham brothers, remember the Basham brothers? I mean, they did the same thing with the twin magic. So it's like, it's already used. So, I mean, yeah. After they started doing that, I was just like, yeah, no. So I'm not really big on the Bellas, to be honest with you, other than they're pretty. That's really all I have. But yeah, let's see. And then last, Mia Yim. Mia Yim is another one. She could shine anywhere. I mean, she's had experience with Impact Wrestling. She was Jade. She was a knockout champion. Let's see. She could go to NWA. She would fit there. She could definitely go to AEW. I wouldn't mind seeing Mia Yim go to Stardom. I think Mia Yim would work in Stardom. I think she would be a good fit in Stardom. She could be potentially another top gaijin. I mean, shoot. If B. Priestley can do it, if Kaylee Ray can be successful there, Dakota Kai, Piper Niven, Tessa Blanchard, Santana Garrett. I mean, all those ladies have been in Stardom. Melina had a very short stint. I think had the one show where she's competed in a Stardom ring. You know, I would love to see. I think Mia Yim would do well in Stardom. We got to go back to wrestling with bearded men with tights and sweat and blood. I mean, who knows? I mean, may have to revisit that. You know what I mean? But I mean, yeah. But could you imagine like a Mia Yim against a Mayu Iwatani or against a Momo Watanabe or Mia Yim against Shuri? Oh, I would love to see that. Mia Yim versus Julia, Mia Yim versus Starlight Kid. Oh man, I would pay to see that. I would pay to see that. I think Mia Yim would do great in Stardom and just anywhere. Veteran in the business, well-known name in the indies. Mia Yim, excellent talent. But that's pretty much all I have to say about these releases. I mean, it's really unfortunate. And it's just another clue that WWE is most likely prepping to sell. I mean, they've already turned over the WWE network to NBC Universal and Comcast, which, you know, is Peacock. They have Peacock, which Peacock doesn't even compare to what the WWE network was. So there's that. And like I said, budget cuts, I think that's bullcrap. I think that's bullcrap. And I believe there will be more upcoming. I mean, there were some rumors that Asuka could be let go or Liv Morgan could be let go. Shoot. I wouldn't be surprised if Ricochet was next. I don't see him having much success on SmackDown. I mean, he just had his first match on SmackDown and they lost to Drew McIntyre. So I want to see hot chicks wrestling and wrestling well. I don't care about race, creed, nationality, or religion. Just be hot and wrestle well in a 10-minute match. I can tell you right now, if you want to see a good amount of that, check out Stardom. Check out Stardom. I mean, there's some decent ones in AEW as well, but I would suggest Stardom. Especially Stardom pay-per-views. Stardom pay-per-views. But yeah, like, shoot, there were even rumors of Finn Balor as well. Tegan Knox, we haven't even seen Tegan Knox since they split her and Shotzi. So there's no telling, you know, maybe Tegan Knox could be one that they cut. Elias, we haven't seen Elias since the little vignettes that he's done burying his guitar and such. We still haven't seen Elias return. So he might get the axe. You know what I mean? Word is Kyle O'Reilly's contract, I believe, is up in December. I think. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think December. So I really can't see him staying with the WWE. And him and Johnny Gargano just had a dark match on SmackDown, or not on SmackDown, but before SmackDown, which Johnny Gargano won. Yo, are there any Native American wrestlers out there right now? That's a good question. Not off the top of my head. to be honest with you. Yeah, not off the top of my head. That's a good question though, but not off the top of my head. Dale Yamamoto says, I'm done with WWE if they release Asuka, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and Sasha Banks. And Alexa Bliss, we haven't seen in a while. Thank you for mentioning that. We haven't even seen Alexa Bliss in a while since she lost to Charlotte and had a hissy fit and broke down. We haven't seen her since. Asuka, there's no telling when she's going to return from injury. She's been out since Money in the Bank, but I fear for her. Liv Morgan, I fear for her. I don't think Liv Morgan is ever going to get a legit push on the main roster. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it's going to happen. And Sasha Banks, I mean, there's no telling what's going to happen with Sasha Banks. Although I am intrigued about the idea of a feud between her and Shotzi Blackheart. But yeah, realistically, I don't know about Sasha. I mean, it looks like she's a face again. I don't know why she's a face again, but it's weird. Wait, FMK. Oh. Really? You K for Sasha Banks? Really? M for Bailey, which, yeah, not bad. And F for Alexa Bliss. But K for Sasha? Really, Jack? Wow. Okay. Interesting. Wow. Okay. But yeah, I just, Io Shirai, she's gonna have to get called up to the main roster at some point. I fear for her. Oh, K for Kiss. Oh. Kiss. Gotcha. I was about to say, I was like, oh, okay. Fair enough. But I fear for Io. Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, his contract is winding down. And I can't see Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano staying because they don't even want to go to the main roster. Kevin Owens, his contract's up in January, and I can't see him staying. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but I expected more releases incoming. I think it's going to happen at some point. Whatever happened with the Blue Meanie? So he actually just had a segment where him and Crowbar on AEW. Because Crowbar had a match with oh man, who the heck did he have a match with? I can't remember who he had a match with. I thought it was Lance Archer, or he had a match with somebody, and the Blue Meanie was in his corner. I just can't remember who it was, but they had a really cool segment where the Blue Meanie, was in Crowbar's corner. It wasn't too long after Daphne passed away, but yeah, Blue Meanie. I mean, he still makes appearances here and there. I don't know if he's really wrestling, but yeah, he made a recent appearance with Crowbar, so that was pretty cool. And then WWE, I don't know what the heck is up. We're 16 days away from Survivor Series, and they haven't announced a single match. And Survivor Series is one of their big four. And they have yet to announce a single match. I don't get it. I don't get it. And now I have that fear that Survivor Series is gonna be trash. I mean, this year's SummerSlam was trash, and I have a bad feeling that same thing will happen with Survivor Series. They haven't even announced any matches yet. They haven't even announced any matches. It's ridiculous. Crowbar was the perfect guy to play a maniac. Agreed. I miss the WCW days, him and Daphne and David Flair. I mean, they were great. But, oh, man. Oh, so got some unfortunate injury news. Zoe Stark will be out getting surgery for knee injury that she suffered in the ladder match at Halloween Havoc. That triple threat between her, EO, Toxic Attraction, and Persia and Indy. I like Zoe. I like Zoe Stark. I'm a fan of hers, but I knew when she did that Phoenix Splash and landed on the ladder, the way that she landed, I knew right then and there she hurt herself. She hurt herself. They didn't say how long she'll be out, but she's got to get knee surgery. Hopefully it's nothing like a torn ACL or anything like that, but yeah, there's no telling when she'll be back, which was why they, had Toxic Attraction beat her down and kill her off. So now EO is by herself, but it looks like they're going to be pairing her up with Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter to take on Toxic Attraction. Actually, yes, Jack. Did you ever watch Ring of Glory? Yeah. I did check it out. I looked it up on YouTube. Actually, after I had ended the last pro wrestling stream I did, after you told me about it. Yeah, I checked it out. Interesting. Very interesting. And it looks like they had quite a thing going on there. But of course, the production value hasn't really aged well, but understandable. Definitely understandable. But yeah, I checked it out. Interesting. Very interesting. So yeah, best wishes go out to for a speedy recovery for Zoe Stark, because I definitely like her. Was really good to see Dakota Kai back in in-ring action. And Dakota Kai, they now got her as like this sort of crazy sort of demeanor about her. So it'll be interesting to see when her and Raquel will reignite their feud, because I'm pretty sure that's right around the corner. But yeah, just right now, NXT 2.0 is just, it's weird. It's weird. It was pretty bizarre. Christian adaptations are... Oh, what in the world? Really? What the heck? Now I got a spammer up in here. Wow. So sorry about that, y'all. Stripper, awesome. Christian video games, lame unless they're based on the OT and have plenty of violence. Well, I mean, if they're like retelling, that whole story, then yeah, I could definitely understand how that would have a lot of that. But I don't know. This week's NXT 2.0 just really, it was really weird. I mean, you had Zion Quinn singing and dancing to HBK's theme. Oh my God. And I don't know why Kyle O'Reilly's teamed up with this Von Wagner. I mean, Kyle O'Reilly, that's what they've reduced him to, teaming up with Von Wagner. Yeah, it's gotten to the point where NXT 2.0 is starting to look a little stale. So, yeah. But and also Saray. Saray is another one that I have really bad feeling about because lately she's been wrestling on 205 Live compared to NXT. So I don't know. Ever since, just Triple H, who's still recovering and healing, ever since NXT, his baby was taken away, NXT hasn't really been the same. It's been hit or miss. And I feel like NXT has been kind of on life support. And then SmackDown, I feel like SmackDown and Raw sometimes just find themselves in rematch purgatory. I mean, just a lot of stuff just made no sense to me. I mean, you had Becky Lynch defend her title and get yet another roll-up victory. It's like, dang, she can't even do her finisher and get the cover or tap anybody out using her disarmer. Like the last couple of title defenses, she's won via a roll-up. Like, we're talking about Becky Lynch here, and she's winning matches with roll-ups. I don't get it. Will never be the same. WWE is gone. Yeah. It's and more each week. That's showing. Swing Nut. More and more each week. That's showing. Ty Conti is better. And see, Ty Conti, another one. AEW has been booking very well. Back in WWE, they really dropped the ball with Ty Conti. And now Ty Conti, she's doing well in AEW. Jack says we got to ban roll-ups. I mean, once in a blue moon is fine, but when you're seeing a lot of like match finishes and even title match finishes and roll-ups, it's like they're making it super powerful. I mean, and it's so bad that you're seeing smaller wrestlers roll up the bigger wrestlers. Like, how much sense does that make? Like when Jeff Hardy rolled up Karrion Kross. Like, what? Or when Odyssey Jones just randomly got rolled up by Carmelo Hayes. It's like, what? When Dana Brooke rolled up Nia Jax. Yeah. Nobody could win a fight doing a roll up in real life. Bob Fish too. Oh yeah. Karrion Kross and Jeff makes sense. He's a vet. Wait. You mean do you agree with that happening? Jeff Hardy rolling up Karrion Kross? Is that what you're saying? But yeah, Bobby Fish, I'm definitely loving him in AEW, by the way, and it's good to hear Dance Away again. You know, Red Dragon's one of my top 5 favorite tag teams of all time. But I mean, the thing with Jeff Hardy and Karrion Kross, like he made his debut, his main roster debut, while still NXT champion, and he got pinned. He got pinned and rolled up by Jeff Hardy. Bad move. That was such a bad move. I do, yes. Makes as much sense as Ray beating Kane in 07. But not his first match on the main roster though. While he was champion, his first match, and he gets rolled up. It wasn't even a long match. That was a short, like maybe 3-minute match, and he got rolled up. No. I gotta disagree with you on that one. That made no sense. I gotta disagree with you on that one. You bring in your champion, main roster debut, who's still holding a championship, and he gets rolled up in 3 minutes. I can't agree with that. I know it's Jeff Hardy, but nah, I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that. Let me see. Vince saw nothing in him. Conan and Disco hype that train. He was booked fine on NXT. He was booked fine as the monster he was on NXT. And also remember, he wasn't even paired with Scarlett on the main roster, which really, really decreased his hype and really decreased his overall effect when they didn't have Scarlett in his entrance. But he was booked fine on NXT because that's the thing with Triple H. Triple H knows talent, and Triple H knows how to book talent, something that Vince has yet to really regain. That is, if he ever had it before, but he was booked just fine on NXT. Let's see. I think it's only a matter of time before the Mysterios get split and Dominic turns on Ray. We need to think of NXT as OVW regardless of TV. That's Vince. I mean, it's definitely, with Triple H still recovering and, Triple H being kind of demoted, NXT is definitely not the same, but supposedly Gabe Sapolsky is supposed to be kind of helping with running NXT. So that is a positive. But of course, when it comes down to it, Vince has the final say so over everything anyway. So that is a fair point. Talking about religious characters in wrestling, we had David and his sheep herding period. Wow, that was interesting. That was very interesting. But they had the women's tag team champions lose to Carmella and Queen Zelina. Gabe owned Evolve. Yes, that is correct. And Titanes in El Ring, which was huge here in the 60s, but they did David in the 80s when the show got revived. Oh, interesting fact there. So why release Keith Lee? So the release of Keith Lee was messed up, but could be a blessing in disguise because I feel that AEW has to make room to get him when his 90-day non-compete clause is up. Not to mention, it's been brought to the light that Bearcat was never Keith Lee's idea. Never. And that's another one. Booked just fine on NXT, was able to use his full potential, was able to be used as the limitless one that he always was and still is to this day. And then on the main roster, aside from him having a big pop at Survivor Series, his main roster booking was trash. He got buried into the ground. He had the health scare, had to take time off due to the health scare, came back, made him Bearcat Lee. He got a few squashes, and then bam, he's cut. But I give him credit for sticking up for himself when it came to that whole legal situation with his name, because it's ridiculous that WWE will try to fight to make it so that if you're using your real name, that they'll try to own it. I'm like, no. That's ridiculous that they even go that far. But once 90-day non-compete clause is up, I think Tony Khan should go in and get Keith Lee. Is AEW full up talent-wise, though? That is very possible that they could. They could be, if they haven't reached there by now. But in a hypothetical situation, I would say out of everybody that's released, me personally, I would say that they should at least get Ember Moon and Keith Lee in AEW. Not to mention, Keith Lee could work in Impact Wrestling. I was saying earlier, I didn't know if you caught it. Could you imagine Keith Lee versus Moose? That would be sick. Keith Lee versus Kenny Omega. Oh yeah, Keith Lee versus Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, or Brian Cage, which I think Brian Cage might end up getting released eventually from AEW. I think he hasn't really been happy with his booking, so Brian Cage might get released. But I mean, Keith Lee could really go anywhere and be successful. And Keith Lee is the type of talent that you do not let stay a free agent for long if they can't help it. Nah, that's a talent that you got to scoop up as soon as possible. So I at least Ember Moon and Keith Lee I could see are two that I think AEW should keep an eye out for. But I'm not a fan of the fact that they're making Damian Priest this Jekyll and Hyde type character. They changed up his gimmick. He's no longer doing the Archer of Infamy type stuff. Not a fan of the new change in Damian Priest, which I have a feeling he's going to go heel at some point. Put him under Mark Henry as manager. That would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting. Jack says, do you know for how long they own your name? Cody had to wait a good while to get it back. WWE is insane. You're firing the person and you probably won't have merch with their face, so don't be in. Yeah. For how long? That's a good question. I mean, because you saw how long it took for Cody to get the Rhodes, get Cody Rhodes back. I hear it's long. I hear it's a process. I definitely hear it's a process. So yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. And you got plenty of wrestlers there, in WWE, they will fight. They will fight for that. Cody's name was owned by Turner after the buyout. But yeah, that was a thing for a long time. But yeah. Oh, thank you, Swingnut. Vince owned Rhodes since 2000. So there you go. It took that long. since 2000. Wowzers. And it's 2021 now? Yeah. Thank you for that info, Swing Nut. Oh man. But yeah, just I mean, right now I feel like the main thing with WWE, the main show that I've really been enjoying consistently has been NXT UK. I mean, Meiko Satomura just had a great title defense against Jenny. I mean, NXT UK's been doing pretty well. I mean, shoot. Looks like Zaya Brookside looks like she's going to be turning heel soon. I can't wait to see Blair Davenport and Meiko Satomura go at it. Shoot. Rampage Brown he just turned heel. He's going to be feuding with Ilya Dragunov. Like, I'm looking forward to that. We don't see it in Australia. Really? They don't broadcast NXT UK in Australia? Wow. Same as AEW, we rely on the live streams. Oh, that sucks. Well, are the live streams at least stable? But wow, that sucks. That's a bummer to hear. But I am looking forward to Rampage Brown and Ilya Dragunov feuding. I think that'll be a great test for Ilya Dragunov. And I mean, shoot, they had an epic match, an epic title defense for his first title defense against A-Kid. And A-Kid definitely not quality. Oh, dang. That sucks. Man, that royally sucks. But yeah, and NXT UK, has been doing some great things. Still don't know when Kaylee Ray is gonna get her opportunity on NXT to get into the title picture. Although Mandy Rose as NXT Women's Champion will be interesting. That'll be interesting to see how long her run will be. UK wrestler A-Kid is awesome. Yeah, I definitely grew to be a fan of A-Kid. He had I was really happy to see him, when he won the Heritage Cup. I think he did great. The feud he had with Tyler Bate was really good. The feud he had with Jordan Devlin was really good. Although I have a bad feeling that one or the other, Mustache Mountain is going to get split with one turning on the other. I have a bad feeling that's what's going to happen. And I would really hate to see that happen because I really want Mustache Mountain to win the NXT UK tag titles. Because remember, they've never won those titles before. They've won the NXT tag titles before, but never the NXT UK tag titles. So I hope that's something that at least happens because Mustache Mountain is way overdue for those NXT UK tag team titles. Kaylee Ray versus Doudrop, a.k.a. Viper, a.k.a. Piper Niven, ICW Queen of Extreme match. Oh, yeah. Those are two excellent wrestlers. I have been a fan of Kaylee Ray since I first got my first taste of her back in Impact Wrestling British Boot Camp. That was my first taste of Kaylee Ray, and I've been a fan since her. She's even done some work in Stardom. Like, Kaylee Ray's real deal. And Viper, I got my first taste of Viper back in the Mae Young Classic, and then I researched more of her. And, ICW, she's also been in Stardom as well. Two world-class athletes, and Kaylee Ray and Doudrop, a.k.a. Viper. Yeah, I love them both. Love them both. Great wrestlers. I'm not too sure how well she's going to get booked on the main roster, but I thought she was going to win the Queen's Crown tournament. But ICW Ireland YouTube, bro. Check her out. Oh, they got a YouTube channel. Okay, I'll have to do that. Shoot, I'll probably have to subscribe to that because I'm definitely down for that. Most definitely. And then tonight's SmackDown, they did showcase some of the newly drafted talent. Like they had the backstage segment with Aaliyah and Jeff Hardy. Well, Vince looks at her and sees a skinny Paige. Who Dewdrop or Kaylee Ray? Looks at he looks at which one is a skinny Paige? I take it you're talking about Kaylee Ray. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Kaylee Ray. Longest reigning NXT UK Women's Champion. I just fear for her as well if she ever gets to the main roster. I mean, she's on NXT now, but I fear for her on the main roster. But hopefully, who knows? Hopefully she can have some success because she's a great wrestler. Jack says, I wouldn't mind having a taste of Kaylee Ray. Oh, you're attracted to Kaylee Ray as well? Right on. But this whole feud with Naomi and Shayna Baszler and Sonya Deville, which I mean, we'll eventually see Sonya back in the ring full time at some point, but it's brewing up to it. But I still think Naomi should join the bloodline, be with her husband, and she can actually get elevated. Johnny Saint's in charge fully of UK, not Vince. That's good to hear. That's good. That's good reassurance. Amale is pretty cool. Amale is pretty cool. Me personally, I would love to get y'all's thoughts on this. Me personally, I really feel like Eva Valkyrie should have had her title shot way before now, but she's out injured. I like Eva Valkyrie. I really like Eva Valkyrie. I love her entrance. I love, just her style. I can't wait till Eva Valkyrie returns. Heels was awesome. Yeah, I hear that's been getting better and better from what I've heard. But yeah, I can't wait till Eva Valkyrie gets back. Eva Valkyrie, she's the one she had the undefeated streak for a long while until Meiko Satomura ended it. She usually had the feathers in her entrance, but and Eva Valkyrie has done some NXT house shows as well, but but yeah, she's wrestled quite a bit in some of the European promotions out there. But yeah, Eva Valkyrie, really good. But yeah, she was on an undefeated streak for a long while. NXT UK. But she's out with an injury that she suffered when she was feuding with Jenny. But great talent, and I look forward to her return. Eva Valkyrie, she's from Ireland. If I remember correctly, she's from Ireland. But yeah, great talent. Still seeing more dissension, somewhat, but between Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. I mean, it's going to get to the point where Roman Reigns is just going to flat out just destroy Paul Heyman. It's coming. It's coming. Oh my goodness. What is up with all the spamming? Goodness gracious. I'm loving all these Kiwis and Aussies on Next. Are you a fan of Dakota Kai? It's really good to see Dakota Kai back in NXT. I actually enjoyed yeah, swing nut. Spike pile driver. Big fan. Yeah, Dakota Kai. Definitely I became a fan of her ever since the Mae Young Classic. I didn't really know that much about her until somebody reminded me that she was Evie, which she's had some matches on NXT before as Evie. And then I looked her up. She's wrestled in Shimmer, she's wrestled in Stardom, and yeah, Evie, she's a real deal. The captain of Team Kick. Great wrestler. Great wrestler. I love her style. I love her bubbly personality and her style. I like her heel run. She's a great heel, but I really love her as a face. I just love her bubbly style, and she did great in the Mae Young Classic. I really enjoyed her match with Kairi Sane. She's looking thin. I mean, yeah, that is true. I think she's definitely very attractive. Seen her live 19 times before NXT. Oh, dude, that is awesome. I'm jealous. I would love to see her live. I would love to see her live. She's a great. And I hear she loves her fans. From what I've heard, she really loves her fans. I really enjoyed seeing her team up with like Io Shirai and Tegan Knox and Kairi Sane. Buddy Murphy was at my brother's wedding. LOL. Buddy Murphy will actually be at WrestleCade in Winston-Salem, not too far from my hometown, after Thanksgiving, which I will be attending. So I look forward to meeting Buddy Murphy. Aussies are tight. They gotta match both Valkyries and make a high flying match. Oh, you mean Eva Valkyrie and Taya Valkyrie? put those two Valkyries. Ask him about Wagga Wagga NSW or NSW. I've never even heard of that. But anyway, so wanted to talk a little bit about a little bit of Stardom. So I'm hearing that New South Wales. Gotcha. Thank you for clarification. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Hazuki from Stardom is joining Stars. Now we're talking about somebody that used to be with Oedo Tai when she was last in Stardom before she retired for a while. And I think she was also before that. I think she was also in Queen's Quest, if I remember correctly. But wow, Hazuki joining Stars, and of course they had an appearance from Saya Ida as well, which I want to say she's probably almost cleared for in-ring return. She's been out for a long while, so hopefully she'll be back very soon, or at least before the end of this year. But Hazuki joining Stars will definitely strengthen that unit because they've kind of been through a lot. But I think recently getting Koguma and now Hazuki and hopefully Saya Ida returning will definitely strengthen their ranks. It looks like Starlight Kid is trying her best to get Momo Watanabe to join Oedo Tai. And honestly, I could see it happening. I know for a while Micah was trying to get Momo to join Donna Del Mundo. But now Starlight Kid is really trying to make a push to get Momo, the current leader of Queen's Quest, to join Oedo Tai. I am not too sure. I have no idea what that says. Swing Nut. I have no idea what that says. Trent, can you translate for me? How's that for a Japanese fan? Hey, I dig it. I don't know what it says, but I dig it. Momo Watanabe in Oedo Tai would be interesting. Momo Watanabe and Donna Del Mundo, I think that's less likely. Who is your favorite wrestler? So favorite male wrestler of all time, The Great Muta. Favorite female wrestler of all time, Gail Kim. Favorite tag team of all time, the Motor City Machine Guns. Bam. What about you? Let's see. And then unfortunately, Micah's going to be out healing from injuries. It was reported that she's going to be missing some shows. Or actually this weekend. She's taking time off from this weekend. So they got some shows for this weekend that she'll be missing to heal from injuries. But hopefully that doesn't mean that she'll miss much of the remaining Goddess of Stardom Tag League that's still going on. But definitely a lot to look forward there. But it's interesting. And it was even pointed out that Starlight Kid even said that Azumi was more of Queen's Quest's leader, which me personally, I would have thought that would have been more so Utami Hayashishita, but Azumi kind of makes sense as well. I think she's been in Queen's Quest longer than Utami Hayashishita. But we'll see what happens. Dean Malenko, Jazz, and the Rock and Roll Express. Free is coming very soon. Very close. Dean Malenko, watched him a lot back in WCW, a great wrestler, the man of 1,000 holds. Love him. Jazz. Saw a lot of Jazz back in WWE. Great wrestler. Rock and Roll Express. I've gotten to meet Rock and Roll Express. Robert Gibson, Ricky Morton, great wrestlers. A lot of history behind them. Oh, FTR. Oh, yeah, FTR. Oh, from North Carolina, just like me. They will also be at WrestleCade, and I'm looking so forward to meeting FTR. You know, I've got to show support from a North Carolinian wrestlers. But yeah. I'm so jealous. I don't know if you could make it out to here in time, but tickets are still on sale. Jay Lethal, shout out. Jay Lethal. Love Jay Lethal. First ROH show I went to, Winter Warriors Tour. Met Jay Lethal. He was part of the meet and greet. Great guy. But yeah, I really hope he gets picked up somewhere, because, you know, ROH is going on hiatus and they are releasing everyone from their contracts. And as a matter of fact, I might as well transition to that while it's on my mind. So with ROH, after Final Battle at the end of the year going on hiatus, one thing that I failed to mention in the last video I did was that their library, the ROH library, is up for sale. Their complete video library is up for sale. He'll be in Impact. Impact, which he has experience with, you know, former X Division champion, Black Machismo, Jay Lethal, had a great run in Impact Wrestling. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with the ROH video library. I was talking about shout out to Bruce the Beast that that was part of VF Arena last night. One of the things that was told to me was that Sinclair Broadcasting is going through a lot of hard times with debt, and that has kind of led to ROH going under, potentially going under. So apparently the debt was apparently like in the millions from what I've heard, from what I've been told. The ROH Sinclair Broadcasting is in like millions in debt. I don't know if it's, if part of like signing all those contracts, because they signed a lot of contracts. If Tony doesn't buy it, Scott D'Amore will. Yeah. And there's been a lot of speculation as to who could potentially maybe buy ROH, as well as the video library. Because I know their goal is to go on hiatus, hopefully until at least April 2022, and then repackage, kind of re-image ROH. But if they're putting the ROH video library up for sale, that's looking more like a shutdown, if you ask me. But we'll see what happens. But there's a lot of people employed under ROH, and a handful of them re-signed new contracts. So the word is that supposedly everybody's contracts are up the end of the year. If it's been extended, the latest that it'll go is March of 2022. So we'll see what happens with that. She's done. Yeah, I mean, I just really feel for ROH. I really hate that it came down to this. I mean, they just crowned a ROH Women of Honor champion and Roxy. They had that tournament. I mean, like I said, I've been to a lot of ROH live events. I've even been to Best in the World pay-per-view when they came to Concord, North Carolina. I'm a big ROH fan. Dan Hausen to AEW, or I really, from what I've heard, is he's I think he's healing from an injury, but he's supposed to be at WrestleCade as well, if I remember correctly. But I think he's recovering from some sort of leg injury or something like that. But Dan Hausen, I've met Dan Hausen, funny guy. But yeah, just thinking about all the folks that I've met at ROH. I mean, Jay Lethal, the Young Bucks, the Motor City Machine Guns, the Briscoes, Nick Aldis, Kushida, Kelly Klein. Just so much talent. I love Danhausen. He's fine. I talked to him. It's his knee. Oh, so it was his knee. Okay, gotcha. I wasn't sure if it was like I had a feeling it was some type of leg injury, but it's knee. Gotcha. But yeah, but that's a lot of talent from ROH. I mean, shoot. Dragon Lee, Kenny King, Roosh, Jay Lethal, the Briscoes, Dalton Castle, the Bouncers, Silas Young. Like, that's a lot of talent. Shane Taylor Productions. Yeah, I mean, I hope everybody gets picked up. Mandy Leon, The Allure, Roxy, all those ladies. Just, Man, I hope one way or another ROH can be salvaged and everybody can get jobs afterwards. Kenny King won't get signed. Too much heat. Really? Like recently or just in general? But yeah, hopefully ROH can, the talent can get picked up elsewhere. But yeah, final battle at the end of this year is his last pay-per-view. So they just made tickets available for sale, I think not too long ago. But yeah, that'll be in Baltimore, Maryland, I believe. So yeah, who all those that are able to go see that, definitely check it out. I might get it on pay-per-view just to say that, hey, I saw the last ROH pay-per-view. I might even do that. But let's see. Let's take a look at this card for NJPW's Power Struggle, which it's this weekend, Saturday. Let's take a look at this card. We got a tag team match. We got Kosei Fujita and Ryohei Iowa, two young lions, going up against Doki and Yoshinobu Kanemaru of Suzuki-gun. I mean, that's easy. Suzuki-gun wins this match. I mean, they're going up against the young lions. Young lions don't beat vets, so that's typical. We got a 6-man tag. We got Bullet Club's Jado, Gato, and Tangaloa going up against Tiger Mask, Tomoaki Honma, and Toki Makabe. The only way I could see Bullet Club winning is from cheating, of course, because I mean, Jado and Gato and Tangaloa against a strong team of Tiger Mask and Togi Makabe and Tomoaki Honma. It is Bullet Club. What the heck? I'll say Bullet Club because they're probably going to find a way to cheat and win. So I'll say Bullet Club. We got another 6-man tag. We have Master Wato, Yuji Nagata, and Ryusuke Taguchi going up against LIJ's Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, and Sanada. Definitely picking LIJ to win this match. I'm still not sold on Master Wato. I'm not sold on him, to be honest with you. Let's see. We have the never openweight 6-man tag team titles on the line. So Yoshihashi, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hiroki Goto will be making their 10th title defense of these titles. And they'll be taking on Bullet Club's, House of Torture branded Sho, Evil, and Yujiro Takahashi. This should be an interesting match, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I think that the champs will retain. I expect Chaos to retain for their 10th successful defense. And I just have a strong feeling this could potentially, Ishii, Goto, and Yoshihashi could potentially become one of the best never openweight 6-man tag champs of all time. I really, truly feel that. But I think they'll retain. Next up, we have KOPW 2021 trophy will be on the line as Toru Yano will defend against the Great O'Karn And it looks like, I'm guessing it's either going to be an amateur wrestling match or a kiss my feet match. Oh, geez. Oh, man. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be very interesting. But I expect it to be very wacky because, I mean, whenever the KOPW trophy's on the line and Toru Yano's involved, you know it's going to be wacky. And these two have been kind of back and forth at each other. So this makes perfect sense to have this match. I do think Toru Yano will retain. He'll make a way and he'll retain. That's what I'm thinking. Next up, we have the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship will be on the line as Robbie Eagles will make his second defense against El Desperado. I'm kind of stuck with this matchup. I'm kind of stuck. I could see either one of these two winning. I could really see either one of these two winning. But I'm going to say Robbie Eagles retains. I think it'll be a great match, but I think Robbie Eagles will walk away with the title. I think he'll retain. But I expect it to be a very good match. It could still go either way, but I'm picking Robbie Eagles to retain. All right, next up, the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship will be on the line as Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace, will be defending the title against Kenta. Now, to be honest with you, I could see Kenta beating Tanahashi. I could see Kenta winning. So I think that will be a title change right there. I think Kenta dethrones Tanahashi. So I'm picking Kenta to win. We got the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship right to challenge in Tokyo contract. So this is between the G1 Climax 31 winner, Kazuchika Okada, will be defending that contract against Tama Tonga, the man that defeated him, that gave him his one loss during the G1 Climax 31. So Okada gets payback and will retain the contract. I believe he beats Tama Tonga, he gets his payback, and he retains. And then we have the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match as the main event, where Shingo Takagi will make his third defense of the title against Zack Sabre Jr., somebody that beat Shingo in the G1 Climax 31 tournament. Made him tap out. Think this is going to be a really, really excellent match, but Shingo retains. I think Shingo retains. I do believe that he will make it to Wrestle Kingdom, and he probably will get dethroned at Wrestle Kingdom. To be honest with you, I think Shingo retains, but I think he will get dethroned in Wrestle Kingdom. I think that's going to happen. But this is a good card. This is a really good card for Power Struggle. I'm looking forward to it. But the only title change that I could see happening is Kenta winning the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. And like I said, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, that could go either way. But I'm picking Robbie Eagles. But I think that could go either way. But looking forward to it. Should be really, really good. Looking highly forward to it. And then, let's see, looking at talking a little bit more of AEW. So the finals is set. The finals is set for the Full Gear World Championship Eliminator Tournament. It's going to be Bryan Danielson versus Miro in the finals at Full Gear. Looking really forward to that. That should be hard hitting. Should be an excellent match. But the winner of that match will get a future AEW World Championship title shot. So, looking forward to that. And we now have the quarterfinals of the TBS Championship tournament set. So, we're going to have Jamie Hayter versus Thunder Rosa, which should be good. We're going to have Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet, which unfortunately I think Jade will still win in advance, even though I can't stand Jade Cargill. We're going to have a match that we're all very familiar with, Nyla Rose versus Hikarushita. So two that have a long-going rivalry. Of course, I'll be cheering on for Shida, but something tells me Nyla Rose is going to win. Mainly because, Shida has had Nyla Rose's number in their history. So I think Nyla Rose will get the victory over her. And something tells me Serena Deeb is probably going to interfere. I think she's probably going to interfere. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. And then you have Ruby Soho versus Chris Statlander, which realistically, that could go either way. But personally, who I would love to see win the TBS championship is either Thunder Rosa or Chris Statlander. Now, talking with some friends, I could understand the argument of they're going to save Thunder Rosa to be the one that eventually dethrones Britt Baker and win the AEW Women's title. Fair argument. But I really don't want to see Jade Cargill become the first TBS champion. She's still green in the ring, and a lot of her matches have been squashes, and she hasn't really gone up against any legit threat in a singles match. You know what I mean? So it's like, for her to just coast her way like this to win that title just makes no sense to me. I just feel like it would be a slap in the face of the women's division on AEW. So that's my whole take on that. But we got an interesting quarterfinal round. And we know we got our so we got the three individuals picked. Or excuse me, for the three for the 5-on-5 Inner Circle versus America's Top Team. So they picked Andrei Arlovsky, Junior Dos Santos, and Dan Lambert. That's right, Dan Lambert. So he's going to be involved in the match, which I had a feeling that was the route they were going after they said, after them winning the match, they could pick anybody from America's Top Team for the match at Full Gear. So, of course, Jericho threw in Dan Lambert's name. So kind of saw that coming. But yeah, that should be good. And like I said, Aerostar and Samurai Del Sol had their open challenge title shot against FTR. The AAA tag titles were on the line. So it was cool to see Samurai Del Sol in an AEW ring. So I thought that was pretty cool. And Aerostar, I've seen from back in Lucha Underground. That's where I remember seeing him from. So that is really cool. But, got a lot of good things coming up for AEW. got to give a shout out to Jon Moxley. It takes a lot of courage to admit when you have a problem, whether it's an addiction or whatnot, and taking the step, not only in admitting you have a problem, but taking the step to go get help is like a big win. That's a big win. That's a huge start in the road to recovery. And I wish him the best. I know he recently released his book, but I think that's awesome that, hey, I'm going to step away and I'm going to take time off and I'm going to get help to overcome, alcohol addiction. And I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome that he's doing that. And it goes a long way. And it's just good to, show support, because it's a big step when there are folks out there that take that step, not ashamed to admit, hey, I need help. And that's a big start. So I really speedy recovery for Jon Moxley. I hope that he, the help that he's getting is a success, that he can get cleaned and that he can come back stronger and a better person too. And, he's got my support. So, Jon Moxley, do what you got to do. Hope you can recover, as soon as possible. Take time out for yourself, get clean, do what you got to do. And I have no doubt that AEW will support him and will embrace him when he's ready to return. So look forward to it. And, it's good to see a lot of other wrestlers and fans showing their support for Jon Moxley, because, they're pro wrestlers. They entertain, they perform and they do well, but they also, have real life problems too. We all do. We all have our struggles, and he's making the effort to take care of his. So that goes a long way. So with that happening, they had to come up with a replacement because he was in the Eliminator tournament. So they replaced him with Miro, who ended up defeating Orange Cassidy to advance to the finals. And of course, Bryan Danielson beat Eddie Kingston to advance to the finals. So that's how that all came to fruition. And then I gotta talk about Eddie Kingston and CM Punk just recently on Rampage, having that face off. And that's a big deal. Shots fired. This told a really great story between the two. Eddie Kingston, so used to being looked down upon, judged, just trampled over. And, CM Punk didn't hold back. Guys like him and Samoa Joe and Amazing Red. And we all judged you, because, you couldn't carry yourself up to standards and such. And just, CM Punk looked down on him. Went in. And then, of course, Eddie Kingston fired back. Not only did he challenge him to a match at Full Gear, he even, it's like, when I beat you, you might as well quit, like you did 7 years ago. And then in the midst of that, they, CM Punk headbutted him and then they brawled. So I really like the story that they're telling. CM Punk, Eddie Kingston, that match at Full Gear, that's going to be fire. That's going to be fire. I look forward to that. I can't wait to go over that card next week. That match is going to be fire. But MJF Darby Allin, it's another match that I'm looking forward to for Full Gear. Their story is, getting more and more hype as well. So looking forward to see how that goes down. And then, of course, Ty Conti getting ready for her big title shot at Full Gear against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And I gotta be honest, that opening round match between Jamie Hayter and Anna Jay, that was one of Anna Jay's best matches lately, if you ask me. Anna Jay looked great in that match. I think she did well. She's getting better and better in the ring, and she's showing that she hasn't really missed a step since returning from injury. So I love it. I definitely love it. And of course, another one of the things that was said was we're going to get Super Click versus Christian and the Jurassic Express. So we got that coming up. That should be really good. I believe that's going to be at Full Gear as well. We had a really big stable showdown between the Elite and the Dark Order, which was pretty entertaining. It was pretty entertaining. Of course, they had Hangman Adam Page come out of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So that was really cool. And, I know that was, the Halloween special, but I still thought that match was very entertaining. It was just very entertaining match. But it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens. We got next week is the go home week for AEW for Full Gear, the last pay-per-view of the year for them. Makes me wonder if there's going to be any surprises as well. Just got word that Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt, is now past his 90-day non-compete clause, and he's free to sign wherever he wants. So we might be seeing him soon. Maybe in AEW, it's very possible. We'll see. But lot to look forward to. Like I said, we got the quarterfinal round of the TBS Championship Tournament getting ready to start. Of course, we had the match on Rampage where Red Velvet defeated the Bunny. So we got that part of the bracket now set. We got the finals for the AEW Full Gear World Championship Eliminator Tournament. It's going to be Miro versus Bryan Danielson. Just continued more hype and build up for the tag team title match, Lucha Bros FTR. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to. Whole lot to look forward to. So I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. But it was announced that we're gonna get Bryan Danielson versus Rocky Romero next week. So hey, Forbidden Door open once again. So looking forward to that. Bobby Fish has been getting a handful of matches lately. I still really enjoyed the match he had with CM Punk. That was a great match. But yeah, like AEW's doing their thing. Definitely enjoying it. But like I said, WWE better get it together. Survivor Series is 16 days away, and they still haven't made any match announcements, barely any promos. I've been seeing more commercials for WrestleMania next year than Survivor Series. It's ridiculous. So yeah, we'll see what happens though. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode of Pro Wrestling Talk. Like I said, once I watch the NJPW's Power Struggle, I'll do a recap of that, give my thoughts on that, and probably next week I'll do a standings update for the Goddess of Stardom Tag League, and also going to preview AEW Full Gear. Looking forward to that. So, yeah. See what happens as we get closer to Full Gear. But anyway, that is all for this episode. Thank y'all so much for chatting up with me. Thank y'all for watching. Hope to see y'all soon. But until then, this is Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram signing off for this episode of Pro Wrestling Talk, brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming. Hope everybody has a blessed weekend, and I will see y'all soon. Night, everybody.